Welcome to JVR Industries. Today we're going to go over how to replace your JVR Vac100's lid chamber gasket. So stay tuned. Welcome back, guys. So today we're going to go over how to replace that lid chamber gasket, and we're just going to dive right in. If you want to know how to diagnose a vacuum leak on your Vac100, stay tuned. We'll have a totally in-depth video on how to diagnose a vacuum leak very easily. So the first step is removing your lid chamber gasket, which is pretty simple. All you do is pull up on it, the whole gasket will come right out. And a lot of times on these ones that you are taking out, they might be glued. When replacing these gaskets, it's not a big deal if you glue them or not, as long as you cut them to length and there's a little bit of squish into each end, you should be fine. There shouldn't be any leak taking place there. Okay, so we're going to grab that next lid chamber gasket and it's time to insert it. So like I said before, this tail is going to be facing outward, and then you just want to make sure that the base, it looks like a 6 basically, the base of that 6 is in the base of the channel for the gasket. So what we're going to do is center off, find a center point in the back of the chamber and the back of that channel there, and just lay the flat bottom of that gasket towards the center. Now you want to compress about 1 inch into the channel, and now you're all set. The next part is to compress each corner in, starting with the corner closest to where we just inserted this in, and just working your way around the chamber. Now it's important that you do not stretch the gasket or pull it and insert it in the corner, because you don't want too much excess gasket hanging out or stretched too thin so it's not compressing on the lid or fully engaging on that lid. So let's go ahead and start doing that. So you're going to pull it taut, not stretching it, just taut enough, and then compress in the corner. Bring it all the way down to the next corner, nice and taut, not stretching it, and push that base right to the bottom. And just keep working around the entire chamber, and voila, then you're basically most of the way done. Okay, so on this last step, you're going to find that your gasket is actually a little bit too long. So what I want you to do is just take this and cut a little bit extra, give yourself an extra 32nd or 64th of gasket beyond what you think you need. That way it kind of jams into the other side of the gasket when installing. Okay, so now that your gasket is cut, you want it so that it's nice. When you pull it taut, it's running into it just a little bit on the opposing side. So it is, that's perfect. I'm going to pull it nice and taut, not stretching it, remember, because that is no good. I just have my corner pop out. Okay, and just pull it a little bit. Make sure that flat bottom is still hitting the bottom of the channel. Okay, and then just compress about 1 inch, just like you did on the opposing side. Now you can see my tail's a little bit off of the other one, so I'm going to fix that. Okay, so now you should have all this slack between each corner, except on this one side. So we're going to match this side to the rest of the side, so compress the centers on each side of the chamber, ensuring that the bottom flat part is in that channel. Okay. And then we're going to repeat that process. So essentially there's compression points in the corners and the middle. Now we're going to put a compression point in the center of those 2 compression points. Center all the way around the chamber. So the corner in the center, and now we're going to the center of that. So work your way around the whole unit doing that. side you should have 3 compression points. 1, 2, the second one's in the center, and the third one. Now you do have the corner compressions too. Now you need to add 1, 2, 3, 4 compression points per side. Essentially 1 compression point between each compression point. So there's 2 here. Just gonna push 1 here, and what I'm gonna do is just get my finger under that tail. It just helps with compressing it. Go to the next one right here, one right here, and just keep working your way around the chamber. Now finally we're just gonna slowly work across it and just compress the remaining of the hills out. That way the whole gasket is nice and level. And obviously do this without stretching it, so make sure you're raising your thumb, pressing your thumb down, raise, press. Now when I'm sliding it, I'm not stretching it. Make sure you're not rolling it. I can see right here, I can feel it. The tail is a little bit off with the other part of the tail, so I'm just gonna pick it up and rotate it. The tail should be equidistant all the way across. I can feel it's a little bit off here. I'm just gonna give it a little rotation. And just keep doing that all the way around it. And watching out for hills and valleys in my gasket. And all those little details, if you pay attention to it when installing, it will make for less correction needed once you test it. Okay, now we are ready to test to see how our gasket was installed. So let's go ahead and power our machine back on, unless you have the screensaver off under secondary settings. You'll have to manually turn it back on after it's been sitting for a while. What we're going to do is just bring down the lid and close it off. Now once it compresses this chamber gasket, we're going to see small imperfections. In that case, we're going to make our adjustments. Let's view it. So if you're visually inspecting it, you can see little imperfections like right here. It wavers out a little bit. Let's keep inspecting it. It's looking pretty consistent. We just want it parallel with the channel's path. We're just gonna, there's a little waver there. Dips back quite a bit right here. It's not equidistant with back here. So we're gonna roll this whole part back, and it starts getting pretty consistent around here again. It's looking pretty good. A couple wavering spots, so I'm just gonna go back, pull those sections out, roll the tail so that it's even or equidistant in that channel there, and then we should be all set to go. Okay, so during that little time-lapse video, you might have seen me looking down the gasket, and that was just to visually inspect that it's nice and straight all the way down and nice and level when I'm looking at the tail of that gasket. So I'm going to do that down every edge, and you can see on edges like that it is not consistent. It buckles out right there in the center. So I'm going to just quickly adjust that by rolling it and then just compressing it until I can see that the tail itself is nice and equidistant. A little off back here, and just takes a little roll. Okay, now that we've adjusted, rolled out, what we could perceive was not correct or straight or parallel with that channel or equidistant, we're ready to power our unit on and do another test. So just let it compress, and now we're looking at that gasket, and it looks solid. I'm talking nice and parallel with that channel. Perfect seal, and as you can see, it's operating optimally. Well, thank you so much for tuning in, guys. I hope this was extremely helpful in how to replace your lid chamber gasket. A lot of you guys have been picking up those maintenance packs. If you haven't seen them, go check them out on the website. You save like $4 or $5, and you get the gasket, oil, seal bar heat strip, some seal bar tape. I believe there's another item in that maintenance pack, so check that out. Basically every essential item for general maintenance on your JVR Vac100, and we also sell it for the Vac110 too. Thanks again for tuning in on JVR Industries on YouTube. Feel free to leave comments below and questions below regarding this process. If you need any further explanation, do not hesitate to reach out to us, or feel free to call us at 716-206-2500. Thanks again for watching our YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell below so that you can be updated on any new content. You guys have a great one.